Have you heard about Anchor? Well, it's one of the easiest ways to create a podcast. Not only is it 100% free, but it has a variety of creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or a computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast to other sites such as Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many others for you. And Anchor even allows you to make money from your podcast without a required minimum listenership. So whether you've been in the podcasting game for a long time or you're completely new to it, Anchor is so user-friendly that it's basically your one-stop shop for making a podcast. So what are you waiting for? Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Previously on First Paso.
Any lasting change that you want in your life, you have to change your identity. Changing your identity is what is really going to lead you to what you want.
You're listening to First Paso. Because sometimes you simply need someone to help you take that first paso. Hello and welcome to First Paso, a show where we learn together how to take that first paso toward becoming the best versions of ourselves. My name is Candace Olushala, and today we're picking up where we left off in last week's episode with Laura explaining the importance of shifting your identity to achieve your goals.
This shift of identity, this is always required when you have a big goal, a bold goal, for example, or if you want to lose weight permanently. Any lasting change that you want in your life, you have to change your identity. Changing your identity is what is really going to lead you to what you want.
Yeah. Man, this is a timely conversation for me because I'm very new in my transition out of practicing pharmacy. I just left pharmacy at the end of August of last year, and I had just gotten licensed at the top of 2020. So I wasn't licensed for long, and I wasn't practicing as a pharmacist for no more than a year and a half, not even. But I made that clean break to completely switch over at the end of August. I spent the remainder of 2021 going, I feel like I know what I'm doing, but I haven't quite figured out the words to put it together to make it make sense to other people. So I was like sat there a lot going like, do I explain like, am I a life coach? Am I a podcaster? Do I do public? Am I a public speaker? Am I a public speaker who has a podcast? Am I like, what does that mean? And I think what was funny when you talk about the identity, right? That once I got to a space where I could say, I'm a public speaker that uses life coaching and podcasting as a way to powerfully speak into people. And even when I've said that, people still ask me about my pharmacy degree. Like, but so like, did you throw it away? Is it in there? I'm like, nope. All of it's still here. I didn't lose it. It's not gone. And I have my degree sitting on my counter. So I know I have it, but I get to be creative with how I utilize the information and the tools that I've gained over the years. So it doesn't look the way that you think it should look. And I'm okay with that. I see that you're not. But that's not for me to have to cater to your discomfort in what I'm doing. I just have to make sure that I'm comfortable with what I'm doing and I'm confident in that. And I think once you get a grasp of what I'm doing, maybe you'll start to feel comfortable. But I've also learned that in speaking one-on-one with people about what I'm doing, I've been getting more of the, wow, that's really brave of you. I wish I could do that response. And I'm like, why can't you do that? You've told yourself you can't do that. And I'm not mad at you for thinking that. I'm not blaming you or shaming you for having told yourself, I can't do that, but it's something that I recognize. I thought for a very long time that if I do this, the world says I have to do this until I'm at least 65, and then I can retire, and then I get to live my life if I saved
Exactly.
enough money for retirement to do that. The number of people who have that secret desire in them, that they just kind of bottle it up somewhere in their spirit, and they'll say, well, I wish actually if I wasn't doing what I'm doing now, I would actually probably want to do this. And I'm like, what? Wait, what? Wait, just do that. Why can't you do that? Well,
Exactly.
I have this responsibility, and financially I don't think. Well, and I'm like, well, how have so many of us walked this world with hidden passions or hidden like flames inside of us that we're
Mhm.
trying to keep contained? And then you end up getting to the end of your life going like, man, like I worked a lot and I didn't really get to do what I wanted to do, but I found that to be really sad. And I told myself, I'm 30, I'm in my early 30s. I don't want to be that person. And I need to get to a space where I don't care how the world sees how I step into that freedom and the flexibility and the passion to wake up every day and do what I believe I'm called to do. I want to just can I just cultivate that now? Can I do that today? Do I have to be
Mhm.
retired in my 60s and 70s and 90s before I'm allowed to say I want to do something? I I don't think I should have to wait for that. So I'm inspired that you've done that. I haven't spoken to anyone in the medical field who's also left and done some has become a coach or any other non-traditional path, like taken that and
Mhm.
is loving that and is still working on the ups and downs that come with that transition and figuring out what do I do with the flexibility that I have that I didn't have before? How do I cultivate
It's
this lifestyle that's been in my head for so long and it's now my reality? Like,
mhm.
well, what is that? And does that change from day to day and month to month and year to year? Of course. And so, how do I play around with that? How do I get creative with that? And how does that serve my family? And how does that still serve me and the clients that I have? So, I'm inspired by what you're doing. I feel like you're like a trailblazer in front of me that I can look to, for what I'm doing because it has had its moments of uncertainty and yet being
Mhm.
certain through the uncertainty because I know that the uncertainty is just me trying to process how does this work when before
Mhm.
medicine just kind of hand you this is what you do and then you do this and then you do this. There's a
Exactly.
blueprint, but we don't have a blueprint.
Exactly. Yeah.
We get to
And
create.
here you are in the ocean.
Yes.
You say, okay, where do I go? Which is the direction? So from one side, there are so many possibilities that sometimes it can be overwhelming too.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. It's just
And
like
when
wide open
you are
space.
in official degree, you just have to follow the path. So once you get there and you have your degree, all becomes very easy.
Yeah.
And here it's exactly the contrary. So you
Yeah.
have to start, have a clear niche, and then learn how to market your niche, and learning other skills, copywriting, and how can I get my message to my ideal client. So it's really, I would say, if there's an emotion that it's all the time there and that you have to be willing to go through, it's the willingness to feel discomfort, to do the things when you don't want. For example, for me, putting myself in front of a camera, this
Mm.
has been the most hardest thing that I've done in my journey, but I told myself, no, every month I'm going to make a little step, something, little action that get me closer to where I want to be. And I know that there are lots of things that I don't want. For example, spending a lot of time on social media and putting myself in the camera, or for example, making lives. For me, making a live was just for some people.
Mm.
And it was like, no, when you put your focus not on you, but on the message and the people that needs to hear what you want to say,
Yeah.
it disappears. So it was like, no, I am going to do one live every weekday and at least for 1 month, and just to tell myself and to prove to myself that I can do this, and that this is really a matter of feeling a lot of discomfort in my body, but that's all. And just learning this skill of say, hey, I am not feeling comfortable, but I am going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when you make those 30 days, it's like, wow, now putting myself in front of the camera, it's not such a big deal. Of course, there's always a little bit of stress, but it's a good stress. It's a stress that pushes me to make things better. It's not a stress that paralyzes me as before.
Yeah. I love that. So then what have been the biggest lessons for you in this first Basso experience? And was there anything that you would have done differently in this process?
I would say something that I've learned. It's about what we are talking about, the importance of the beliefs that you have. So the things that you tell to yourself, your inner chat, and the importance of having the alignment. This is something that you just talked about some minutes ago, the alignment between what you think, how you feel, and what you do. Because this is something that I have experienced, for example, in this journey in the beginning, and also people who wants to lose weight as well. So we are trained at school at be very good at following instructions, taking action. This is the easy part. Okay. But the thing is that sometimes, especially in the beginning, we are taking action from a place, from an emotion that it's not the right one. We are doing it from a place of resistance. For example, I have to do this. And because I have to do this to get there, it becomes a little bit more harder. So you have to really tell to yourself, hey, I want to do this, and choose the right emotion that fuels your actions, because otherwise that's what end up happening. A lot of people, it's quitting on their dreams, quitting on themselves finally.
Yeah.
So the importance of the emotion that it's fueling your actions, and also your inner talk or your beliefs. When we are talking about identity, finally, identity is the thoughts that you have about yourself. I was there trying to start my business, but thinking that I was a physician. And well, yes, I almost forgot. I am also a coach. In fact, I am starting my business as a coach, So it's about, no, right now I am a coach. And of course, I have this background, which brings me a lot of positive things to what I do right now, and also for my family. But now I am working as a coach, and I love that.
Yeah. You going through your identity transition, how has that helped you connect with your actual clients? Because you talked about how your clients need to have that identity shift so that way their weight loss journey is actually sustainable and maintained. So how do you connect with them using your story?
I understand totally the process that they are going through, and I am teaching all the tools that has helped me. So the tools that I have proved on myself, that I have learned, but also proved on myself. So for me, it's like reinforcing more and more what I have experienced, and also when I see the results in my clients. So it's really something that it's available to everybody. And this is also important, because I think that whether it's lasting weight loss or something, a deep desire that you have, we all have this. No, this is impossible for me. And as long as you keep thinking that this is impossible for you, you're just going to find proofs and evidence of why this is impossible.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why it's important to discover what is our mental chatter, the thoughts that we have, and question them. Is that true? Is that impossible for me? Why is this impossible? Because most of the things are just recycled thoughts that we have that are even not coming from ourselves. It's just things that we have learned. If you are a physician, you're a physician until the end. That's
Yeah.
it. And you have
Yep.
to go through this process. Otherwise, you are a bit crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, is that true? Let's prove
Yep.
it.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Let's prove
I
the
agree.
opposite.
Right. Yeah. So then for anyone listening that's feeling that clash or that discomfort in that between space of this is who I think I'm supposed to be, but this is what I do. And how do I get out of that limbo that's the pressure is in there and I feel stuck trying to make that decision one way or another. What would you say to them?
I think that you said something interesting here. We get stuck,
Mhm.
but we get stuck because we are trying to find the right answer. It's
Mhm.
better to do this, the traditional path, follow the traditional path, or it's better to do what I really want to do. And finally, the truth is that there's no right or wrong decision. You just have to make a decision
Mhm.
and say, and I would say for anybody who has a desire, I would encourage them to follow that desire and just at least give it a try
Mm.
and start now, because sometimes another thing that happens usually is that we are all the time procrastinating this. So it's like, no, 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 it's not the right moment now. When I'll be married, and then you're married. No, no, now I am going to have a kid. I will have more responsibility. So it's not the right moment. So I would say start now, give it a try.
Yeah.
And the only advice that I would tell, it's just to have enough money saved,
Mm.
just to be comfortable of say, well, I am starting this. This is what I want to do. And I have no pressure because I have money there.
Yeah.
So just to remember that we are all creators
Mm.
and that we have to follow our desires and have to do it right now, really.
Yeah.
There won't be a better moment.
Mm.
And if finally it doesn't work out, at least you have tried this.
Yeah.
You know, there's this she is an author. She was, I think that she was a physician of palliative medicine,
Mm.
Elizabeth Kluber Ross. So she was working with the terminal
Mm.
people who were
Right.
almost dying. And she was writing a lot of books around this topic. And she, in one of her books, she tells what people regret the most at the end of their lives, it's to not have tried what they wanted to try.
Mhm.
So
That
this is wisdom coming from those people who
yeah.
have no longer time to really do this.
Yeah. That scares me. Like if anything scares me is the idea that I get to my dying days and I still have those I wish I had tried.
Exactly.
I don't want to have to say that.
Mhm.
So that's I think that's powerful regardless of what age you are, because I think that's also something
Mhm.
that we convince ourselves that, oh, I hit 30 and good. I just have to do what I've been doing. I'm too old now. It's too late now. And
Who
I don't
decides this? Who decides?
that is my exact question. I'm like, who is the grand,
Yeah.
decider of when we are too old or too young to do something. I mean, I'm always inspired by like stories of someone's 94-year-old grandpa graduating with their bachelor's with their great
Mhm.
grandchild. Like that to me is
Yeah.
like, yes, like you did not allow your age, your health, you didn't allow anything to get in the way of you saying, I want to walk out of this world saying I obtained that degree because I've always wanted to and I did it, and I went after it. I tried and I actually went through it. Or even if you tried, it's like, I tried, it didn't work out, but I did it because I wanted
Mhm.
to at least give myself the opportunity,
Opportunity. Mhm.
right? I think it's just so powerful when you realize the power you have in giving yourself that permission, like you said at the beginning. Give yourself permission
Mhm.
to be what your spirit is telling you what that you are. Like, it's there for a reason, and all of the
Exactly.
things coming at you in the world saying that no, 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 maybe not, because that's that's all discouragement, and it's
That
not for
that's
you. You don't have to
that's
receive.
our stories. These are the stories that we tell ourselves. So these are
Yes.
the thoughts that we have
Yeah.
and that we always have, but we have to acknowledge them and say, okay, I think that I am not, this is impossible for me because I know that I am scared. And it's okay to
Mm,
be scared because this is something new and not a lot of people is doing this, but I'm going to do it anyway.
yeah.
So it's like a little bit like a toddler. Our brain just wants to protect us. And the
Mm,
way that it works, it's like telling us, no, 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 you just have to be saved here in the cave. You don't have to get out here because there's a lot of danger. So
yeah.
our society has evolved a lot, but our brains are still there.
Mhm.
And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, acknowledge that it's just our brain, it's just the stories that we are telling ourselves that they
Yeah.
are not necessarily true,
Yeah.
and override them. So letting the space to be there, but then say, okay, I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah. Laura, I appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time to really unpack that, because it spoke to me. And I know a lot of people that sit in this space or have just started their journey and they're going, how do I explain what I do now? Like, I think they're going to really appreciate that this is part of discovering a different identity within yourself, and that
Mhm.
takes practice, and there's practice, and it's okay to have to do that practice. It's worth it in the
Exactly.
end. So
Totally.
how can people find you or contact you if they have questions or want to talk to you in any way, shape, or
Mhm.
form?
So I have my email, which is hello at lauradesans.com. So it's my first name and last name.com. And then I also have a Facebook group, a private one, which is Lasting Weight Loss for Mom Entrepreneurs. And
Okay.
I am posting there every single day, and I am making some workshops or challenge from time to time. And I think that that's a good way to start to know a little bit about this lasting weight loss journey, which is not at all the typical one.
Mm,
So I would recommend. And then I have a landing page for my program. I have a 6-month program, one-on-one coaching container, and it's www.lauradesans.com. So I would say there's 3.
perfect. All right, guys, hit her up if you have questions, especially you mom entrepreneurs. Please hit her up, because I feel like she's a perfect resource to go to for just questions and empathy for what you're trying to do for yourself as a mom. So, thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. If there are any topics in the future that you want discussed here, if you have any guests that you want to suggest to be on the show, please contact me, either email me, send me a DM on social media at Candace Olushala. You can always text me at 859-800-3396. And please let us know how you relate to this show, or anything that was discussed in today's episode, because we love hearing from you guys. We love making sure that you're getting that support that you desire and that you're connecting with the stories that are told here. So we love hearing from you guys. And anything else that you want to do to support this, you can always go to www.firstbasso.com. And there's so many ways to connect with me or to support my entrepreneurial venture, whether that's booking me as a public speaker, having me be your life coach, or just donating to the podcast to keep it up and running. So, those of you that have supported in a variety of ways, even just sharing an episode or rating the podcast. I thank you guys. You guys have been awesome on this journey that I've gone on. And love the support that I've had the last year and a half of this. So thank you guys. And you guys stay safe. Omicron is still out here doing craziness. So please just protect yourselves and your families and your loved ones. Enjoy 2022. And Laura, thank you. Muchas gracias for everything. And we'll talk soon.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye.